I remember the days of going into GameStop, trading in my games for the newest, latest game, probably trading in 5 or 6 old games that I picked up from like yard sales or I got previously at GameStop. But while I was there to play the kiosks that they had. Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, PS3, that was the days that I'm talking about. The best days in my opinion. The peak of the midnight releases. GameStop arcades, I think this is a good idea. I love this idea. I don't think it's going to work though. They're still probably just going to be selling a whole bunch of merchandise and they're going to have like games you could play, but really the whole point is to buy the merchandise. That's probably the way it's going to go. Who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe it'll be really cool.
This email got sent to me with this video.
Push Start Arcade. That would it be called? That'd be kind of cool. They just rebrand to Push Start
I
Arcade.
don't know, push to start, pull to enter. I don't know if they're going for like a euphemism on what that means deeper.
Is it pull the door? Probably. You pull the door open and that's how you get in.
But the email was basically titled something along the lines of GameStop arcades.
Dude, that would be so cool.
And inside the email was very limited information.
It'd probably be very overpriced, but I'd try it.
I could pull it up, but it literally says nothing. It's just like, stay tuned for updates, and then this video. That was it. So, awaiting more updates from GameStop. I haven't checked today if there's anything. But no, they posted it here, and this is the same thing. This is basically what the email was. It said something new is coming soon. Stay tuned for updates. GameStop.com/preview. And when you go to that, it just says something is coming. Play video. Stay tuned for updates. So it doesn't give any actual details beyond just GameStop Arcade in the email title.
That's all I need to know. Maybe they'll have some pop-up arcades. Maybe they'll turn some stores that are kind of failing, you know, not doing as good as they should. Maybe they'll turn them into arcades. Hopefully this works, man. I hope it works. Please let this work. If we could bring back the arcade culture, I'm completely fine with them monetizing me that way. Like, if we're getting to the we don't own games territory, I'm fine with going to arcades and playing games. That would be a really cool way to get people to socialize again. I'm into it.
And Push Start Arcade. And my first thought when I saw this was, okay, clearly GameStop knows that the physical game era is coming to an end.
Yes, true. That's what I'm saying, man.
And they can't sustain themselves strictly on just pop action figures and selling t-shirts. They need to actually have a business model that drives people to their stores.
And if this works and they can get bigger locations and have like GameStop Supercenters that have like V arcades, that would be so cool. Remember Terminator 2? The kid's got he's in the Star Wars jet fighter or TIE fighter, whatever it was. It was really cool. I want a modern day version of that.
And it reminds me a little bit of back when GameStop was originally trying to turn a corner. It was right during the pandemic starting and right before the pandemic. It was like a few months before the pandemic started. And I remember that's when I started.
Dude, hold on. What if they use Bitcoin as tokens for the arcade? That would be insane. And that could explain why they just bought so much Bitcoin. They're going to use Bitcoin as tokens. Or tokens based on Bitcoin. See, that's what I think that cryptocurrency should be used for. is for stuff like arcades and like buying gas and things like that. I think it's a perfect use case for getting into the crypto market. It actually being useful for things.
Investing in GameStop because they tweeted out that they planned on turning their stores into almost like a Dungeons and Dragons or board game or community, like a community place where you could play Magic the Gathering.
Dude, yes. There are a lot of like mom and pop game shops out there. I know a few and they're popping, man. There's a lot of people going there. They make a lot of money for the shop. And like the people who run it, they don't care as long as they turn a profit, a livable wage. They don't care how much they make. They just want the shop to be running good. And I love that. I love that vibe. And even the workers. That's where it actually is a family. All these corporate places always want to make it out to be like, oh, we're a family. No, get that shit out of there. These mom and pop shops, they actually do run it like a family. Let these GameStops kind of like run themselves and just manage what they're doing and stay out of it. And you do so good. Make it the least amount of corporate as possible.
Or Pokemon, or just like a hangout place with cards and stuff. I was like, okay, there's something interesting there. It gives people a reason to want to go to the store.
Yeah, and give it a cool vibe. Like a video gamey Dungeons and Dragons RPG type of vibe with like structures. Like make it you know what I mean? Put up decor. Make rocks coming out of the walls. Don't just make it like a flat white with a red and white text with black background store. You know? Like this brutalist. Got to make it cool. Got to give it style. Make gamers want to go in there and be like, this is the coolest store that I've ever been in.
And then the pandemic happened, and then they never actually followed through with that, besides a few test stores. And then they kind of dropped that. And now GameStop Arcade is a curious one. Because I think of a GameStop like most of them are tiny little kiosks in the mall. If they have them in the mall, their stores are way too small to have any kind of footprint or
easy. Shut them all down and use the money that you'd save from shutting all those down to open up new stores, but make them arcades. Actually, it could probably work if you like stick to smaller areas and don't go for big cities and don't go for malls, or take the place of stores that have shut down, you know? You don't have to stay in the same store when you're in a mall. There's always negotiations that can be made.
Any kind of like reason to be like, oh, let's go to that arcade for that. And you walk in, it's like a tiny little like booth with like 7 arcades on each side. I don't know how that would work. Maybe for some of the bigger places where they have like a section of the store that's just an arcade. Maybe. I don't know though. I'm curious.
They might just open up a bunch of test areas that they'll probably leave GameStop as it is and just turn a few of them into this push start arcade or whatever. It probably won't be push start arcade, but you know, they'll probably turn some places into it, especially the bigger GameStops, the ones that have more space. I've been in a few of them.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with it. But yeah, that was really it. Just kind of a heads up to you guys.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I think it's cool. I'll try it out. I'll definitely try it out. There's a GameStop near me that I hope that they turn into one of these arcades. That'd be so cool. We need to bring back culture in this country, damn it. And I think this is a good way to do it. Hopefully it works. Hopefully people actually go to it if it's cool. Because people are fucking lazy nowadays. They don't want to go out. They don't want to leave their house. Why would they leave their house when they have everything at their house?